The very warmest of welcomes to you indeed. The setting is Baku, Azerbaijan, and the National Gymnastics Arena for the Rhythmic Gymnastics World Cup. Lots to come over the next several hours. We're going to bring you a great selection of 4 individual apparatus finals and 2 group finals as well. It's an absolutely fantastic field that we've got for this competition. It is star-studded, to put it mildly, and the quality is going to be absolutely terrific. This is such a popular event, the Baku World Cup at the National Gymnastics Arena. It's one of the most well-watched worldwide of the season. And we have, I hope you enjoyed that blink and you'll miss it look at the schedule, but I'll talk you through it in a little more detail as we go through. But we have got 4 individual finals, as I say, the hoop and ball finals. We'll have those 2 first. Then we'll move on to the first of the group apparatus finals, the single apparatus competition. We'll then go through the clubs and ribbon finals and revisit the groups for the mixed apparatus final. The National Gymnastics Arena in Baku, purpose-built for this sport. It was the site of the European Games in 2015, and it's been the site of FIG Rhythmic Gymnastics World Cups for a great while now. Also hosts World Cup events in artistic gymnastics. That was only last month. And we've had the trampoline gymnastics world championships here, along with the rhythmic gymnastics world championships and the European championships of team gym. So much great competition. This is what's coming up today. We'll start with the individual hoop and ball finals. Then we'll move to the Group 5 ribbons event. The groups will come back later for the 3 balls and 2 hoops final, and in between that we'll have the individuals competing with the clubs and with the ribbon. We have got all of the expected favourites pretty much contesting the finals today. We also have some new gymnasts who are starting to make their way through, and that is very exciting. Some new seniors who've made their debuts as individuals and as group members at this Baku World Cup. We wish them the really finest of fortunes as they contest for the first time big televised finals in the sport of rhythmic gymnastics as seniors. Not to say that they don't, many of them have great junior pedigrees and lots of experience upon which to draw. The groups particularly have new compositions. I'm sure many of you are well aware of that. There have been a lot of changes to the groups over the last little while. Some of the gymnasts who've already done their work now having an opportunity to sit and enjoy the competition, along with some young fans of the sport of rhythmic gymnastics. And I hope you are looking forward to it wherever you're joining us from, wherever you call home and whoever it is that you're supporting. It is an absolute pleasure to have your company for all of this action from the National Gymnastics Arena in Baku. Just had a little look at the city of Baku with its modernity and antiquity beautifully balanced. Now let's hand over to the arena presenters as we get underway and look at the finalists.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the 3rd final day of the FIG Rhythmic Gymnastics World Cup AGF Trophy.
Yarışlarımıza başlayırıq. Fərqli gimnastların halqa ilə final çıxışlarını izləyəcəyik.
We start with hoop final of individual gymnasts.
Finalçıları qarşılayın.
Please welcome the finalists.
Daha gür alqışlar, daha gür alqışlar.
So here they are, the finalists in the hoop competition, which will get us underway at the Rhythmic Gymnastics World Cup.
Onofriichuk, Taisiia, Ukraine. Raffaeli, Sofia, Italy. Keys, Rin, USA. Nikolova, Stiliana, Bulgaria. Emir, Hatice, Turkey. Tugolukova, Vera, Cyprus. Harnasko, Alina, Salos, Anastasia, Good luck to all gymnasts.
Well, the good news there is that we nearly saw some of the correct gymnasts as they were being identified. A little bit of a lottery, but I'm sure you know very well who they are. And those who are less well known to you, you're going to get to know as they embark upon the finals here. It's going to be very exciting to see people like Hatice Emir. The finalists in the hoop competition at the World Cup in Baku, and the top performer in qualification, Stiliana Nikolova, who won the bronze medal in the all-around competition. The all-around silver medalist, Taisiia Onofriichuk, will get us started. She was the second best qualifier, and the third best qualifier was the all-around champion, Sofia Raffaeli. Now, it is customary in the National Gymnastics Arena that we get these nice little intermediary performances from young athletes who have the chance to take centre stage, and we wish all of them the best of luck as they get to entertain the crowd and to entertain you. Really well done to them. Lovely way to start as we get set up for this opening final, which begins in a couple of minutes' time. Just enough time to run through what happened at the Sofia World Cup, the first of the season, which was quite recently. Taisiia Onofriichuk was the gold medalist in the all-around. Stiliana Nikolova won silver in the all-around, and Takhmina Ikromova won bronze in the all-around. And now we go to the aforementioned Taisiia Onofriichuk, who won 3 gold medals at that competition. He is looking the real deal moving into this next Olympic cycle. Taisiia Onofriichuk of Ukraine.
Of blood to terrorize your neighborhood.
It's a great routine, that. It really works for her. She performs it with vivacity. She's a gymnast who is absolutely on the rise. There is no doubting it. She's still not quite 17. Birthday in just over a month's time. And she was the bronze medalist, I'm sure many of you remember, with the hoop at the last European Championships in her first major senior international competition. Let's have a look back at this performance from Taisiia Onofriichuk. Very good fouette turns. Strong drop down and back up to releve. The knee bend gives that whipping action. The leg stays nicely to horizontal. That worked very well. There were times in the routine when it felt maybe a touch more tentative than it has done in the past, but that's okay because it's still an evolving performance. This is one that she's carried over from previous seasons. Nice chaîné turns. Well-performed risks. Wasn't the trajectory judgment good there? You can now perform one fewer risk than was previously the case in the old code of points, 4 instead of 5. Body elements reduced by 1 as well. No combined elements, so essentially 8 assessed body elements, not 12. The whole idea being it gives a little more time for expression. 29.25. I did think it might be slightly down from qualification. It is a small drop, but nonetheless it's a very compelling score and it's a very good way to start. We move to Sofia Raffaeli, the all-around champion, the bronze medalist at the Olympic Games in Paris. 29.3 her qualification score.
Tu sei una cosa grande per me, una cosa che mi fa innamorare, una cosa che se tu guarda me, mi innamora così, guardando a te. Sapere una cosa da te, perché quando ti guarda così, si pure tu ti senti morire, non mi dici e non mi fai capire, ma perché così.
It's a very interesting routine, this. There is time. Maybe it's the slowness of the music, maybe it's the new code of points, maybe it's just that the whole thing is well put together, but it gives you time to enjoy it. It doesn't feel rushed, it doesn't feel like a race. It's a very nice piece of rhythmic gymnastics. It feels a lot longer than it is, and I mean that in a very complimentary sense. Now, yes, there were some obvious trajectory issues with the apparatus. At times, the line was perfect. She judged the end of the risk very well, good penché turns, but she certainly skirted around the edge of the competition floor. There might well be some issues with execution and with difficulty. But we have to remind ourselves that as an Olympic medalist, she's coming in to the season in a slightly different way from some of the other gymnasts who maybe are really kicking off their season early. A lot of athletes who competed at the Olympiad, took time at the conclusion of the games, didn't finish off the season in the way that they normally would, and therefore have got a slightly different path. There's an example of maybe the rebound not being quite as it was meant to be. Very good toe point in the fouettes. Yes, difficulty is down, execution is down a fraction. 28.65, so it is a drop for Raffaeli, and she does pick up that 0.35 penalty for the hoop crossing over out of the competition floor. So Onofriichuk stays in the gold medal position. Now to the exciting Rin Keys of the United States of America. Well, hasn't it been fantastic to see the development of Rin Keys of the USA, the bronze medalist with the ribbon in, Sofia? Absolutely fantastic accomplishment. She was the 8th best in qualification with 27.45. So we look back at a performance of a gymnast who's becoming increasingly technical and increasingly expressive. Very good line there as she hits that balance position. Completely vertical plane established. Decent catch of the apparatus behind the line of sight. Going for as much precision as possible in the Grand Battement inspired dynamic balance sequence. Really a gymnast who is going in a very positive direction. The first American to win a World Championship medal at any level. Employment here of the traditional fouettes. Good fundamental technique, a nice bit of style coming out of it, showing balletic underpinning. And again, some precision in the penchés. A lot that really is on the right lines. It'll be interesting to look at the execution score because it looked stronger than qualifying. Yes, there we go. 8.05 for execution, 28.9 for Keys. She's managed to gain a few tenths of execution from the preliminary round, and more significantly, she's gained a lot of difficulty. I was looking at that routine thinking that doesn't look like an 11.8 for difficulty, and it certainly wasn't. It was a 12.7. We move to Stiliana Nikolova of Bulgaria. 29.7 in qualification. The strongest performance. That would put her into the gold medal position at the halfway stage.
You have to understand the way I am, mein Herr. A tiger is a tiger, not a lamb, mein Herr. You'll never turn the vinegar to jam, mein Herr. So I do what I do. When I'm through, then I'm through, and I'm through. Toodaloo. Bye, bye, my. Though I used to care, I need the open air. You're better off without me, mein Herr. Don't grab your eye, mein Herr. I wonder why, mein Herr. I've always said that I was a rover. You can speak for mein Herr. And bye-bye, bye-bye, my lieber Herr. Farewell, my lieber Herr. It was a fine affair, but now it's over. And though I used to care, I need the open air. You're better off without me.
She's got some really exciting routines this season, Stiliana Nikolova. She has spoken of the desire to reinvent herself. That's bold, that's brave, and we're all enjoying it very, very much. She had one moment there where she really had to lunge for that hoop, and boy did she lunge for it. I'm reflecting on the fact that her father was a professional footballer. He would have been happy if any of his goalkeepers had managed to display that kind of agility, because she really had to fling herself across the space to make sure that contact was maintained. She works so well in the side scale position, gets incredible rotations in that very few gymnasts are able to carry off. She also gets around in penché. A lot of difficulties accumulated that way, along with some good rebounds, some clever orchestration of the routine, and some unsighted reconnections with the hoop as well. An example there of working out of the line of sight. She just has incredible dynamism when she turns, allows her to get a lot of rotations in. But there will be quite a few execution costs. Yes, 28.2, the execution score, 7.8. That is the lowest execution score we've seen so far, and she does have 0.3 of penalty 10, so she didn't quite manage to keep that apparatus in bounds. We move to a gymnast who made the all-around final at the last European Championships. This is Hatice Emir from Turkey. a very striking performance. She works well with her choice of music, the Duchess's Secret. Very much a performative piece. There's character to it, it's memorable. She's only 16, this young athlete, who's from the Asian side of Istanbul in Pendik. Competed at the Junior World Championships in 2023, then made that all-around final. Big moment at the European Championships in Budapest. Really flicks the back leg up nicely in the leaps. Some very nice toe point at times. Certainly room for this to really grow and find itself over the course of the season as a routine. Might be there that she was quite clearly looking over the shoulder to make the catch. Hard to see from that angle. It's very important that the gymnasts, when they're working unsighted, they really are working unsighted and not getting a little bit of vision of the apparatus. Reasonably clean travel of the hoop. It mustn't oscillate too much in flight. 28.2. It is an increase of 0.2 from qualification, so well done to her. And actually, I'm not surprised there that the artistry has gone up by 0.3 from qualifying. It looked a more cohesive performance. It looked like there was more theatricality embedded into the routine. So she's in 4th place. We go to Vera Tugolukova of Cyprus, the gymnast who was the 7th best in qualifying. 3 to go in this hoop final. The Olympian Vera Tugolukova, 16th at the Games in Paris. The gymnast who won a bronze medal with the ribbon in Athens in her senior international debut at the World Cup last year. First ever Cypriot medalist. It's very big orchestration. That often popular combination of something that is very classical and something that brings a little touch of modernity to it. She's a gymnast who's capable of putting real complexity into her work. She gets amplitude in how she launches the hoop there, allowing her time to complete those forward rotations of the body. Artistically, there's room for it to grow as the season goes on. Some tidiness perhaps in some of the leaps and the transitional elements will come. It's becoming more expressive. It'll be interesting to look at the artistry score for this. It scored 7.5, I should say, in the qualification phase. Yes, that's very well done, isn't it? 29.2, she's up from qualifying, and that artistry score certainly justifiably stronger. That's what I mean when I talk about it just having room to grow as the season goes on. It's already stepped up there from qualification. She got the difficulty that she was intending in a way that she didn't manage to in the preliminary round, so she goes into the silver medal position, only 500s behind Onofriichuk, and we have 2 left, so Onofriichuk is guaranteed another medal. We look at Alina Harnasko, 4th best in qualification.
I blame my black heart.
Suddenly, right at the end, the hoop just stopped behaving itself. It's such a lovely performance overall. There was a movement quality to this that was really delightful to watch. The overall fluidity. Obviously, it's not going to contend because of the need for the replacement or need to retrieve the apparatus from outside the competition floor, and because of that loss at the end where the hoop took a bounce that it probably shouldn't have done. But look how high she goes up into relevé in those very nice tourchinées déboulées. It's got that balletic touch that you always get from Harnasko. Toe point very fine as she goes into the penché position. Not the most stable that her penché turns have ever been, but the strong fundamentals of her gymnastics mean that everything looks very poised, even when it sometimes isn't actually that poised, because she's got such an elegant balletic style. And she's always had this ability to make the small portions of a routine look very good. Even if it's a simple roll of the apparatus. I say simple, I mean nothing's simple in rhythmic gymnastics, you know what I mean, but for the context of elite level competition, the simple things tend to look very good. 25.7 for obvious reasons. Harnasko in 7th place, and she does have 2 lots of penalty tenths for the apparatus and for her crossing the line. We go to the last performance. It is Anastasia Salos, who's done such beautiful work with this apparatus in the past. 6th best in qualification. And so that brings to a close the hoop competition at the Baku World Cup of Rhythmic Gymnastics. The performance of the very experienced 23-year-old Anastasia Salos, 3 times a World Championship bronze medalist. She's had some lovely work with this apparatus over the years. I'm sure many of you remember the particularly striking performance to Damina several seasons ago, where we all discovered what a glorious piece of music that was. This is very different. This is effervescent, it's bouncy, and it requires a totally different style of choreography, which she performs well. Lovely high split pirouette there. Sometimes there was a slight feel that the hoop was not quite where it needed to be, that she was having to rush a bit to get into position. At other times, it was very exuberantly performed, theatrically performed. The problem in rhythmic gymnastics, as I'm sure many of you know, you practice the sport, is that it's so difficult to sustain your ideal form, your correct posture, when you're having to rush to get to the apparatus, even if it's only a fraction away from where it should be. Suddenly you lose execution, you lose difficulty. But some lovely moments to this performance, certainly. It's going to be up there. Oh, she's made it onto the podium. 28.95. That's a really good performance from Anastasia Salos. So a bronze medal for her. And she just gets in by 500ths over Rin Keys. And so important there for Salos. The strong artistry score that she's received. Execution was very good. Artistry, likewise, everything going up a little from qualification. The bronze medal to Anastasia Salos, silver to Cyprus's Vera Tugolukova, and the gold medal won by the athlete who's winning a sack full of gold medals at the moment, Taisiia Onofriichuk of Ukraine. She is unstoppable. What great news that is for Anastasia Salos, getting back onto a World Cup podium. She was 7th with the hoop in Sofia. On a World Cup podium now for the 17th time. The ball final for individuals is about to begin.
Cevikli ve yüksel ustalık nümayiş ettireceğiyle bu gimnastlar ferdi ve grup hareketleri programlarımızda öz performanslarını nümayiş ettireceğiler. Onlar yeniden çarpan karşılaşmalar, tamaşaçılara heyecanlı anlar yaşanacaklar. Rəqabət dolu yarış və möhtəşəm şovları izləmən şansını qaçırmayın.
The time has come at the National Gymnastics Arena in Baku for the ball final.
Dear friends, we continue with ball final of individual gymnasts.
Let's have a look at the contenders.
Please welcome the finalists. Onofriichuk, Taisiia, Ukraine. Raffaeli, Sofia, Italy. Tugolukova, Vera, Cyprus. Harnasko, Alina, AIN. Salos, Anastasia, AIN. Sumkin Meitai, Mayan, Israel. Varfolomeev, Italia, Germany. Nikolova, Stiliana, Bulgaria. Good luck to all gymnasts.
The finalists in the ball competition at the Baku World Cup. Top in qualification, the last to go, Stiliana Nikolova. Her score was 28.9. It is new orchestration, but she remains capable of enormous numbers with this apparatus. The second best was Sofia Raffaeli, and she will be the second to go in the final. But we do have here the reigning Olympic champion, Daria Varfolomeev, who has resumed her World Cup campaign here in Baku, having not competed in Sofia. In the spectacular Sofia World Cup to open the season, the ball competition was won by Bulgaria's own Stiliana Nikolova, with Alina Harnasko taking silver and Takhmina Ikromova winning the bronze medal. Let's see what happens here in Baku. We begin the ball final. Taisiia Onofriichuk will start. She was the 8th best in qualification, but there's no doubt that this has got the potential to score much higher. It's so different from Thriller that it's barely the same gymnast. And I mean that as an entirely positive thing. Really exciting. The transformation from hoop to ball as she uses the theory of light as her orchestration. She's a gymnast who understands how to behave the way the music is telling her to behave, and yet how to do something that is uniquely her. Just lovely little details in how she works with the ball and what her hands do. There were some moments where the ball just slightly risked running away. They were few and far between, though. Some well-controlled traps. Putting in the leg bend to add a little difficulty to her work. That was a moment where there was very slightly a danger of that ball just slipping away from her. It wasn't a danger that existed for very long. And she's becoming so composed in competition now that she covers little problems. It certainly looked a lot better than qualification. 28.1. It's a jump of about a mark and 3/4 from the preliminary stage. So that puts her very much in the race early on. Crucially there, she's gained 1.3 of difficulty. The second strongest gymnast in qualification was Sofia Raffaeli, the all-around champion in Baku, bronze medalist at the Olympic Games and winner of so many World Championship honours, including 5 golds in 2022. The use of the unsettling music from The Nightmare Before Christmas, the Making Christmas remix. It's got moments of lovely complexity to it, some playful choreography as well. Some complicated unsighted traps of the ball where she really raises the lower body up and performs it with assurance. Occasionally there was a sense that the trajectory was a little off with the apparatus and that she hadn't fully managed to complete what was intended, but we certainly saw her signature move. Amazing ability to function in the side scale position with that bent leg. Holding releve just for a moment to show real control. Coming out of the walkover skills. There's that example of that flourish as she traps. And then really raises the legs, showing great physical power and strength. Here an example of some shuffling to get into position to retrieve the ball at a likely cost to the execution score. .67.65, so she is positioned second. The difficulty has dropped a little. I referenced whether she had maybe not quite managed to do everything that she was intending because of some of those issues with the behaviour of the ball. So for Raffaeli, a small drop from qualifying. Cyprus's Vera Tugolukova, the 6th best in the preliminary round. Her score was 27 exactly. For the second time today, we're going to have orchestration from Cabaret. Different version from Nikolova.
A tiger is a tiger, not a lamb, mein Herr. You'll never turn the vinegar to jam, mein Herr. But I do what I can, inch by inch, step by step, mile by mile, man by man.
She manages the increase in pace of the routine nicely, of the music. Performs it with a clear relationship to the choice of orchestration. It's a fun display from Vera Tugolukova. And there were moments of excellent execution of the body difficulty. There were also moments of quite pronounced trajectory adjustment. There was one really clear one coming out of the Shinee turns. Nice the way she comes out of the illusion turn into a little choreography and then into the dynamic balance work. It all blends together well. It's a strong releve position, as she often does. A nice element there, just taking the weight off the ball and rolling it across the shoulders, showing real control. I just remind you that what you're watching back is the replay of the gymnast, but with the music being used by the dancer who's performing in the middle of all of the routines. And so it's a slightly jarring experience because we have to remind ourselves that that is not at all the choice of music that Vera Tugolukova was intending. No doubting the balletic rudiments, the classical skill that she has. It's good enough to lead, 28.45. And she gained close to a mark and a half from qualification. The execution is actually the lowest of any that we've seen so far. However, she's got the highest difficulty score, 12.7. So that one really at the top of the table due to its complexity. What will we see now from Alina Harnasko, who was 4th in qualification? The gymnast who has been a World Cup champion with this apparatus.
Poco de recuerdo y sin sabor. Goteatura songo l'eredò. Marea tu licori arrea. La tropea della surda al volcar la última cureda. Contame tu condena. Decime tu fracaso, no ves la pena que me he herido. Ya sé que me hace daño, yo sé que te lastimó, llorando mi sermón de vino. La curva que al final le termina la función, corriéndole un telón al corazón.
It really is a lovely choice of orchestration, and it's so well suited to her. I made the observation in Sofia that it had the potential to be one of her really memorable routines, and certainly her reaction there indicative of the fact that it went far more strongly. Won the silver with the ball in Sofia and with the ribbon. 4th with the hoop and with the clubs. 5th with the clubs, I should say. But when I say went far more strongly, I refer to the qualification process here, where she scored 27.35. There's a lovely sense of relationship with the music. Beautiful toe point as she performs the fouette turns with the extended leg. There's never a sense that she has lost what the music is about. La ultima curda, state of drunkenness. Graceful, but with a certain element of ferocity to it choreographically. Qualification was 27.35. That is a lot better than the preliminary round, 27.9. Enough only for 3rd place in this final.
Please welcome Salos, Anastasia.
But certainly, as expected, a jump up from the preliminary stage, and her reaction was indicative of that. She knew that had gone a lot better. Artistry score higher than anything we've seen so far in this final. And again, that feels as it should be. Anastasia Salos third best in qualification. She just made it into third place in the hoop final. That really is a beautiful piece of construction. She's got a relationship with that music. It's very poised, it's full of lovely dance work. The music is Black Book. All of her apparatus, apart from hoop, have got new orchestration this season. Gets right up into releve, managing that high split position, very controlled. Again, good establishment of the chaîné turns, and she's clearly working wonderfully unsighted there, trapping the ball. Little oscillation in the penché turns. Catch into the backwards walkover, goes nicely into choreography. And there must be, as I'm sure many of you know, in the new code of points, real focus on those dance steps. They will be penalised if missing, to the tune of 0.3 each time. .65 for Anastasia Salos. The difficulty is an issue. She's only managed to produce 11 versus the 11.9 that she managed in qualification. So that really is what's seeing her right down away from podium contention. Now to Metal Mayam Sumkin of Israel, who was the 5th best in the qualification phase. Score of 27.1.
No more tears, my heart is dry. I don't laugh and I don't cry. I know I said that I was shy, but rich man can't imagine power. One day, baby, we'll be old. Oh, baby, we'll be old. And think of all the stories that we could have told. One day, baby, we'll be old. Oh, baby, we'll be old. And think of all the stories that we could have told. One day, baby, we'll be old. Oh, baby, we'll be old. Oh, baby, we'll be old.
bold conclusion. There's a really risky feel to the end of that performance, and it makes for an exciting bit of gymnastics. It's very fast orchestration, isn't it? And consequently, it demands a lot of movement energy from the gymnast to match that, well, frankly, frantic feel to the orchestration. And she maintains control well for most of it. She's got incredible rapidity of pirouettes, the 16-year-old from Tel Aviv. Only just 16, by the way, 3 days ago. She really gets around quickly in the pirouette positions. Sometimes maybe a slightly rushed feel to some of the other elements. So the execution will be interesting to look at. This is very much the polar opposite of her choice of music, which we're hearing now being performed by the dancer in the middle of the two routines. Makes for a quite strange complexion to it all. But she's a fast mover. Here's an example of the really rapid turn. She has a slight moment where she lilts to one side in those fouettes and gets it back up to a good vertical position quickly. Well, there we go. It's 27.85. That's a very good performance. She's up by 3/4 of a mark from qualification. But what is interesting is her execution is the lowest that we've seen so far. 7.55 the score. The artistry was one of the highest. Now to the reigning Olympic champion, Taisiia Onofriichuk of Germany. 27, her score in qualification, only the 7th best, but she's beginning her season internationally here.
There's something I have to say to you. If you promise, you'll understand. I cannot contain myself when in your presence. I'm so humble. Touch me. Don't hide our love. Woman to man.
Just a lover, give me back. It's a worth the giving, it's a worth the try. You cannot cleave it, put it in the furnace. Cannot wet it, you cannot burn it. She wants something about you, baby, that makes me want to give it to you. There's something about you, baby.
Promise me whatever we say,
Whatever we do.
for now we'll make a vow to just keep it in the closet.
The Olympic champion, Taisiia Onofriichuk of Germany, making her way back into international competition. We see glimpses of the form that took her all the way to the greatest prize in the sport, and evidence of the fact that the comeback is really just beginning in earnest. She's on a slightly different path at a slightly different stage of the race from some of the other athletes, and that's fine because this is all part of the build towards the next Olympiad. Shanae turns, no problems there. Unsighted catch behind likewise. Often has very good extension to her work, but there was a pronounced loss of the ball later on in the routine that certainly will result in not just execution being sacrificed, but difficulty too.
phenomena.
.87.85 for Daria Varfolomeev.
Please welcome Nikolova Stiliana, Bulgaria.
Varfolomeev in 5th position. It is an improvement from qualification as we now go to the performance of Stiliana Nikolova, who was the top qualifier with 28.9. New choice of orchestration for Stiliana Nikolova. Everything new this year, and so naturally it takes the routines a little time to become consistent. She won the title at her home World Cup in Sofia. Did have more problems on this occasion. So interesting now to see what that will do for the leaderboard, because we've got Vera Tugolukova sitting in 1st position. Just about gets the control there in that side scale position. Easily gets it in the chaîné turns. That's phenomenal. It's so different from her previous choice of music with the ball, and that's exciting. Great judgment coming out of the forward rolls, the ball exactly where it needed to be. Later on did have to give chase. That was the moment where the rebound was just slightly off axis. So as a result, Nikolova scores 27.45, goes into 7th place, and that means that Vera Tugolukova has just won her 1st World Cup title. The classified results in the ball final in Baku. Bronze to Alina Harnasko. The silver medal won by Taisiia Onofriichuk of Ukraine. And the gold medal, a history-making gold medal for Cyprus, won by Vera Tugolukova. Amazing accomplishment. The first from her nation to do that in World Cup competition. Now we're going to turn our attention in a moment to the first of the group finals, and we will bring you the 5 ribbons competition. Important context needs to be given to all of these group performances. We've got such a mixed economy of groups at the moment at this early stage in the first season after the Olympic Games. We've got some groups that are